Alright, I got a 2013 Toyota Sienna van in here. He says he's been driving the thing and he leaves it sit overnight and then it don't want to start in the morning. He said he took it to a parts store too and had it tested. And he said the alternator, the regulator in the alternator's bad, so he just bought one and told me to put it in. I'm looking at this battery and the terminals. He just put a battery in it like a couple weeks ago. He didn't clean any of the damn terminals. Bad connections can make a voltage regulator fail. So I'm going to be taking that out and I'm going to clean these terminals the way they're supposed to. Another thing I did too is I checked for a parasitic draw because he says it only doesn't start overnight and then once he runs it, it's fine. I had to, you just take off the negative terminal and you separate it and you just run the amp wires in and out the negative so you can get an amp reading. It's actually running the whole car through my ammeter, and I had to leave it sit for about a half an hour for everything, all the modules and everything to fall asleep. So I got 0.013 amps, which is good. You generally don't want to get over 60 milliamps, which is 0.06 amps. Some people tell you that you can go up to 1.1 amps, but that's just too much. They go into a milliamp scale, and I got 13 milliamps. You don't want to go over 60. If you go over 60, usually in about 2 weeks your battery will go dead or half dead. So car manufacturers, they make cars so they can sit for about a month before you need to do anything. So yeah, looks like I'm going to have to dig into the alternator. There it is. It's buried. I don't know if anybody's got any tutorials on this or not yet. But I guess I'm going to be making one. I'm going to take that battery out. I'm going to clean those terminals too. I mean, you go to parts stores, you go to battery stores, you do it in your backyard. A lot of people just slap them in. It's so stupid. I mean, you get some baking soda and water, you make a solution and put it in a cup or whatever, and you take the battery out and you soak the terminal ends. You don't even have to take the wires off. You just soak them until they stop bubbling, because it'll make a chemical reaction. It'll get rid of all the corrosion. Clean the terminals real good and put them back on. You do something like this, your stuff's not going to last. I mean, it's just stupid. I see this all the time, and yeah, I run into problems like this, and I have to fix it, because if I don't, the guy could have another problem. But yeah, I'll take it all apart. I'll see what I can do about all this. Okay, I looked at some removal and installation procedures on this, and it tells you got to take the AC condenser and the radiator out of the vehicle, oil cooler lines, some other stuff. I don't believe it, so I'm just going to dive into this blind, see how I do. I'm breaking every one of these. That might be enough. I'm going to take that fan off. Well, if that don't give me enough room to get this thing out, I don't know what will. 2 bolts. I got one of these. Yeah, that's just a 14 millimeter. I got a 6 millimeter Allen wrench. There's a hole for this thing, which is kind of nice. You just stick that in the hole, and supposedly, yeah, you can just leave it unloaded like that. Alright, one 14 millimeter up there I got to get at. There's probably one on the other side on the inside too, I'm guessing. Alright, I'm going to let this car back down. The bracket under there buried really good. There's a bracket on the back side of this. Wire stuck to it. Well, I got the bolt out of the back of the block. It's like an L bracket. There's another bolt I got to get off because there's a wire clipped onto it. I couldn't even see it before, but now I think I can get it now. Oh, they got this thing loose and almost out of here. Swivel socket. Okay, so I got this alternator out. You know, I got this radiator out of the way. And there's a, you can see here there's an L bracket. And what I did was I unbolted this. You couldn't see it. You really got to get in there and get it out. And I pulled the alternator out of the way a little bit so I could turn it like this, and then I could get at this one. Then I got that one out. This wire's attached to it, so if you yank on it too much, you're going to wreck that wire. It's crankshaft sensor, so you got to be really careful. But yeah, it's a really stupid design. They're assholes for doing it this way. I'm probably going to take that wire off and leave it off. There's no reason for that thing to be on there as far as I can see. The back bracket too is questionable, the why it even needs to be there. Yeah, like I say too, instead of taking the radiator and all and the condenser off and the oil lines down here, you can probably take it out the way I did. If you want more room, you can probably take this exhaust manifold off. You get right at it then. You have to take it off with the cat. I didn't do that though. I snuck it all out. It came out. It was a pain in the butt, but it ain't any worse than, it ain't so bad. Alright, yeah, I'm going to take that L bracket off so it's loose and it's not on that, hooked up to that wire anymore, and I'm going to put this thing back in. Yeah, this bracket here, I'm going to try to bolt this thing on here before I put the alternator in the car. Okay, this should be all the fun in the world, ha ha. Yeah, I can feel that bracket. You just can't see nothing. Working blind. Okay, now I got that bracket loose. So I'm going to try to start this other bolt that nobody can see. Not even me. Okay, I got it. Okay, I went down on the bottom and I started that other bottom bolt too before I tighten all these down. I got the L bracket, the bolt up against the engine on the L bracket tight. So I just got to get in here and get this other side. And yeah, the L bracket side on the alternator, I had to loosen it up. It wouldn't go in the way I wanted it to. yeah, like I say, this is really not fun. Swivel socket really comes in handy. Yeah, I don't see how you can get that without it. Okay. I'm hoping my nightmares are over. I just got to tighten a couple more bolts. Okay, now before I get too carried away and put it all together, I'm going to start this thing and make sure this alternator I put in works. Yeah, now for cleaning these battery terminals, I just made a solution of baking soda and water. I don't know, 3 tablespoons or something. I just cut a peanut butter jar, plastic peanut butter jar open. You just want to stick them in there. And you'll see it'll start foaming up. It'll bubble, bubble, bubble. You just want to leave it sitting there until it stops bubbling. And this negative and this positive terminal is the worst. These are really bad. Yeah, see that? Yeah, sometimes you gotta leave them sitting there for, oh, I don't know, about a half an hour or so. Just let it do its magic. And, yeah, that's it. Okay, I let this sit for about 20 minutes. Looks like it's done bubbling. Show you what this looks like. See all that corrosion? It's gone. That's how you do it. Yeah, now I'm just gonna start it up, make sure it gets voltage.